think we're off. Great. Welcome, everyone. This is going to be a bit of a weirder one. When my brain kind of rambles, it gets weird anyways, but this is just going to be more of a weird format one. Today, I don't think we need the second monitor on. Yeah. Maybe a bit later. The most frightening part of game design has approached us, which is getting people to comment on your work. This is terrifying. But, it has to be done. Couple things before we get started, just various bits and pieces. I know I talked earlier about wanting to improve on architecture. Like, I got the masterclass stuff for a Christmas gift. I'm starting to realize that it was not a terribly good course or use of money. Thankfully, it wasn't my money that I spent on it. The masterclass is more like motivational speaking, kind of, and then they have like links to PDFs of entire architecture books, which are useful, but it's, the architecture class with Frank Gehry isn't really focusing on like floor plans and practical considerations and things like that. It's just, kind of a mess. And then I mentioned a pattern language that I was reading, and I want to get back to that, but I kind of put that on hold to read some other things in the meantime. But I did find there was this, people pointed out MIT has a bunch of like architecture, or MIT just has a bunch of classes online, and materials for free. And so I did find that there were architecture classes. So I think I want to pursue that and hopefully actually put some of that into my work after we sort of collate the feedback. Second, I actually made, this is goofy, but I actually made good on that statement of actually wanting to watch Muppet Treasure Island again recently. And I didn't think I'd get inspiration from it, but last night I watched it again for the first time in like decades. And it occurred to me, like, some of the characters get locked up in the brig. And I'm like, oh, my ship in the level doesn't have a brig. So that would be a very good way to, that'd be a very good thing to add in there. And I think that would make more sense to have, like, the key to the safe, or the key to the chest in the captain's quarters in a brig, because it's a secure location, And because of that, with a guard patrolling around there, that could give opportunities to pickpocket a key off of them, which would be pretty fun. So yeah. Anyways, enough procrastinating here. I'm just saying random shit. So, forgive me, it's been a while since I've done this, and I don't necessarily have a unified approach in terms of theory. But I don't know. I'm just gonna go off my instincts here. During college for our production classes, we actually had to submit our game for feedback and play testing for these play testing sessions, basically, that other students would go to. and we would have to in turn like go to a number of these sessions per semester. So the thing is, that's kind of my whole experience with it, and this was not a very directed thing, I think. And I feel like that's mostly because we didn't see or understand the use that we could get out of it. I'm trying to direct, so some of the things is just like there are issues of like people who are non-committal who give very not good feedback or very basic feedback. That was a thing. Like we asked students to give feedback on these things, and one of these, one of the patterns was basically just like they would kind of be very neutral on it, and they would say like very little. It was just like, what do you think could be improved about the game? And they're just like, oh, it needs better graphics, and it's just like that's not terribly helpful, especially when you're early in production and the artists just haven't made a lot of art yet. So the thing is that we have to get a little more specific about what we're asking when we distribute these surveys. And so the thing is, we have to ask ourselves, at this point, what are we looking for in terms of feedback regarding this level specifically? And I just want to write these down so we could focus on this stuff and get very particular about it. So first off, I think it's mostly just, this is nebulous and vague, but, fun, obviously. If the level doesn't really have a fun concept, or people don't think that there is a fun idea at the core here that they can potentially see expanded on and iterated and improved, then what's the use? That would be like a really big problem that we have to fix. Second, how to conduciveness to Thief playstyle. The tricky thing with this is that, especially talking with some other people who are fans of the original Thief games, and this is something that you need to keep in mind as a designer anyways, is that people play games in a different style than you do. I'm pretty traditional with Thief in terms of I just want to actually sneak around and not get caught and avoid that at all times. And I know some people who are way more into knocking people out, killing guards, and actually getting a little more of the system-driven chaos within that, because that just sort of appeals to them. I think that's the way of... Dishonored literally has the chaos system of high chaos and low chaos to sort of formalize this within the game. So I guess just playstyle accommodation, that's kind of what we're getting at. Accommodation, is that with an I? Or is that with an O? Accommodation. I don't know. What else? I'm concerned at certain points about strategizing, you know what I mean? I feel that what's it like? My concern was with at each lock. The player being able or not being able to get on or off the ship. And I'm wondering if there's like ways that the player could potentially get stuck there or stuck in a particular state of the level that's not good. So yeah, I don't know how to phrase that exactly. I don't know, ways of like breaking it or like soft locking. Because that's the thing. I'm not necessarily looking for bugs at this point because I know that there's bugs. Yeah, I think there's still that guard in Building B who has a key to a locked door, and he just like keeps walking into it and not using his key, and I don't know why. So that's gonna be in there. I guess we should also like add like a known bugs disclaimer. What else? Playstyle accommodation. Bugs. Clearly, I want feedback on the layout itself. That may be a more specific way to narrow down on like if this is an effective level or not. Clearly I have like very bizarre, lumpy bizarre, lumpy level buildings within the map. That's what I should say. And what else? God, I just thought of something and I lost it. Known bugs, layout. What else was it? Oh, player direction. Yeah. If the player does not know where to go, then that's a problem. Where to go, what to do. That would be tragic. Okay, so I think those are the main vectors. Obviously, at the end, we're going to leave like a big open text thing for just like, hey, do you have any other critique on like any of these other vectors? So yeah, we're gonna get this survey filled out. Then we're gonna write up a README in terms of getting this installed, and then I'm not gonna upload it to Last Life or the Dark Mod forums during this stream. I'll do that off air, but then I think we could just like maybe actually played through the maps that are included with the dark mod. So yeah. And both critique them and also like get inspiration from them, because clearly they know how to decorate a space much better than I do. So yeah. Okay. So basically, how do we break these very high level ideas of the funness of the level, the player direction of the level, the layout of the level? How do we break these down into more concrete things that we can ask the player? It's kind of tough. So with fun, for instance, I think, well, first off, I think also like ordering of these things is important. I don't know if leading with questions regarding fun is the best idea. To me, my gut says that should be like the last section before the open-ended any other comments entry. Okay. So I guess what can we talk about? Let's start with layout. What do we want in terms of a good layout? I think first off, we don't want the player to get lost. If the player gets lost, then they can't effectively move through the space. So I think that's a pretty good place to start. Did you ever get lost while playing through the level? Or maybe it's better because we kind of want to associate the positive choice, yes, with positive outcomes, I think. So maybe inverting the question is better. Not did you ever get lost while playing through the level, but did you feel like you had a good sense of direction? Had a good sense of direction while playing through the level. Not what I want. Multiple choice. Yeah. Yes, I was able to navigate easily. Add option. Somewhat. I got a bit confused in some areas. No. I kept getting lost. Okay, so what else do we want from a layout? I feel Since a direction while playing through level. I think believability in architecture. I'm gonna take a pummeling on this question, I know, but I think it's good to still have that. Do you feel like you had a good sense of direction? What's it? Do you... Do the areas in the level feel like believable as spaces? Yes, the areas feel grounded. Yes, it's clear that what each area is trying to be. Each area is trying to be and the architecture does not look weird. I don't know. Maybe that's not the best way to phrase it. The architecture feels grounded. Somewhat. Some areas feel okay, while others lacking. And then no, the and ungrounded. Now that I'm thinking about it, the first question here, I think once the survey taker, that's the best phrase I have now. But the survey taker seems like they're gonna encounter this as the first question, and I think that they might conflate this with like what we're gonna be asking in regards to like player direction later on. We're not asking in terms of like, objectives here. In terms of like I know what to do next, we're asking with this specific question. There's spatial navigation. So it's of navigation. I think that will clue the player in more that that's what I'm trying to get at. I think that answers here will, maybe not. I still feel like that's a little better. Do the areas in the level feel believable as spaces? We've got that. What else? I think we want to talk about scale as well. Do the areas in the level feel appropriately scaled? So, yes, they feel appropriate. They feel mostly or uniformly correctly sized. How's that? Because I don't want to say like completely here, you know. Somewhat, some areas feel right while others feel too large or too small. No, the scale feels uniformly or uniformly inappropriate. Thinking about these as well. Like, say that someone filled this survey out and they said, somewhat, some areas feel okay while others are lacking, for example. If we were to look at that feedback and we had 80% of players saying like somewhat, that doesn't clue me into specifically where the problem is. If they're all identifying one particular building or room or something, or if they all have this scattershot idea of like what is and isn't right. So I think we need a follow-up question to basically just let them actually fill in where that is. If you answered somewhat or no, where do you feel the level needs work? Similarly, something to consider is that we want to make sure that we're getting the feedback that we want, so players can't just skip over answers. So we're just going to mark some of these as required, but of course this is conditional So that's not going to be required. Regrettably, that means that there's a real possibility that some people will say somewhat or no here and then just not bother. But, that's just sort of a limitation of the format, I think. Do the areas in the level feel appropriately scaled? And we're basically going to repeat this. If you answered somewhat or no, where do you feel the scale needs to be adjusted? Whoops, did not capitalize. Oh, and this should be short. I think that's it for layout questions. Also, is there a way I can add sections here? I think title and description. Move this up. Okay. Layout questions. Asking about the space. About the space in the level itself. Oh. Oh, and one more thing. I think asking about was it well, this is sort of the focus of the channel. So I think it would be bad form if I didn't ask this. I do think I need this specified, but do you feel the space is... Well, I don't know. I think it's in a playstyle accommodation. I wanted to ask if the space actually complements the gameplay. But again, that doesn't necessarily ask what playstyle this particular player is engaging in. So yeah, maybe this is better in playstyle accommodation. Boop. Dope. Let's go into player direction. Player direction. Asking about questions about knowing where to go. About knowing where to go and what to do. So yeah, now I think we'll get into. Well, actually, maybe we should have a question sort of specifying what what play style the player is engaging in. Yeah, so generally what do you play style were you playing generally what play style were you using when you played the level? Fairly strict stealth and ghosting with occasional maybe this is better phrased as a what's it one of the scale questions, you know, like on a scale from linear scale from like on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 is complete ghosting, 5 is complete like combat chicanery. Play style we're using when you play the level. The wording of the question, I feel, doesn't really match this, though. I think people will get what I'm getting at, but I want to revise that after I type in these labels. Strictly stealthy. Combat and chaos. Chaos focused. Generally, what playstyle were you using when you play the? Generally, where. Okay. Yeah, how do I phrase this then? I don't know. Maybe I should just actually put like 5 options. Yeah. Strictly stealthy. Stealth leaning with occasional what's it? With occasional combat encounters. With occasional engagement in combat or knocking out. no particular leaning or leaning, deciding in the moment. Sure. Combat leaning. Well, sneaking. Highly combat focused. Very. Sure. And then after that, we're going to say, how well do you feel the combat? No. What am I saying? How well do you feel the layout of the level accommodated? Yep, that's right. Okay. How well do you feel the layout of the level accommodated your preferred play style? Choice. Very well. Felt really intuitive. Somewhat. Some areas worked while others didn't. While others didn't. Very little or not at all. It felt like the level was working against me. Well, maybe that's not. Well, I don't know. What I'm thinking here is there may be certain areas in a level theoretically where you could be dissuading the player from engaging in one playstyle or another. But the thing is that could be very intentional. So if you're saying like the level's working against me, like just rushing in and like killing a bunch of dudes, that feels to me like, like not a negative, if that's intentional. But I'm not sure if that would read as intentional to the player. Pardon me. Shit. Okay. If you answered somewhat or no, what do you feel? Could be improved to accommodate your play style? Or what do you think was working against you? What do you feel was? And that, I think, is going to be a little more in depth because these are just largely like identifying specific places, like, this particular room or something, whereas this is more a philosophical question. Yeah. I also zoned out a bit there because I literally thought of probably a better way to do the layout of the whole level. Oh boy. I'm going to make a little doodle right here so I don't lose that. Buildings like that. Okay. Hopefully you'll be able to see someday. Okay. So. What else are we doing? Is that... Oh, god damn it. I did playstyle accommodation, not player direction. Oh well. I don't know, we'll just add. Style. Questions about how well... Now we're gonna do this. Okay. Player direction. Oh, and these should be made required. And this will be required. So first off, did you feel the level clearly explained all the what you needed to do? Yes, at all points I knew what I needed to do next. Somewhat, some objectives were clear while others weren't. No. I had no idea. No idea what was required of me. And of course, after that, doing the whole, which objectives were unclear. Or no. Which objective is... Well, if you can't exactly tell what to do, then you wouldn't be able to identify which objective you're having problems with, right? So I would say, at what points in the level did you feel lost? There we go. That's good. And I think with optional objectives, like you can jam the canal, or you can lower the drawbridge in the shipping area. Somewhat or no. Right. In regards to with actions, you could take in the level that were optional. Did you know was it clear that there were other multiple and optional strategies to get onto the ship? How's that? Yes, I used some of these. Jamming the canal. Yeah, let's actually list those out. Shutting down the canal. Lowering the drawbridge in the warehouse to get onto the ship. Yes, I used some of these while playing the level. Yes, I saw that these were available, but did not use them. Damn, use me. What the hell am I saying? Kind of, or somewhat. Somewhat, I saw some optional objectives, but didn't investigate or they were unclear objectives I could engage in. But okay, that's good. This should be required, of course. No, I was unaware of optional objectives. Optional strategies of getting on and off the ship. Okay. And for this question, I'm not sure what I would ask more specifically. I'm just trying to ask in general what the player notices. So I think that's fine without a follow-up. Down here, add a title below that. Just fun. Questions generally about fun. Generally about fun. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick actually. Sorry to leave you on a very boring screen of a half-finished survey, but yeah. questions. I did check while I was out of the room briefly. It does appear that there are 3 people watching this right now. Or at least I saw on my phone. But, you know, in the live stream interface here, it just says 0 like it did last week. So, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I don't know if this is something like on my end in regards to the way I set it up and it's having a glitch, or maybe it's just like a YouTube problem. All right. Questions generally about fun. How interesting do you find the core concept of the level? How I think engaging would be better. Engaging. Do you find the core concept of the level? A ship moving through a kind of needing to board a ship. Ship moving through a canal. Not engaging at all. Very engaging. And I think a little trick that one of my buddies from college, Nate, engaged in. He, when we were doing this for our college projects, he said, you know, if you have like an odd number of things on a scale like this, like, you know, 1 through 5, if people pick 3, that's pretty non-committal, and it doesn't really give you a lot of feedback. So making it a even number of items, 1 to 6, they at least have to commit to being slightly positive or slightly negative on it, which I think will help nudge us more in a particular direction. Yeah, so fun. How well do you think the concept was executed on? This executed on 1 to 6, not well at all, very well. And let's add this. All right. What else do we want to get at? I just guess generally, how enjoyable did you find the experience of play? Excuse me. Playing through the map. Not enjoyable or all unengaging. Very enjoyable. Did you find the experience playing to the map? How well do you feel it embodies the ideal dark mod mission? Maybe? I don't know. That's kind of tricky because I think that you could probably do really weird stuff in a dark mod mission, and yet it would still be really fun. It would just be unorthodox. Whereas I think what I'm trying to do is like get at an ideal dark mod mission, but I feel like that still embodies, or that's still something that is considered when someone is answering about how enjoyable they found an experience. So maybe that's it. I don't know. That could be it. Oh boy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. I thought I would get a little. I thought I would have had a more specific thing, you know. Playstyle accommodation on Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know. Feel like maybe we should just wrap this up. If you have any feedback on other aspects, of the map, or if you did to talk more specifically about certain aspects to talk more specifically about certain answers, please leave that any additional feedback whether on the topics covered above or on untouched topics. Sure. And that will not be. Okay. All right. Just want to type this. First, actually, I want to date this. So, canal, player, feed, survey, June. Oh, come on. 2020. Because in all likelihood, this is going to go out tomorrow or later tonight. We'll just say June. Hey, thank you for taking the time. Out this survey. Thank you for taking the time to play the June 2020 build of my level, the canal, and survey. Hey. Specifically at this early stage, trying to determine how well the level plays and how what's it? In line, it feels like a dark mod map. Feedback on I hope the section headers, the section header of the section titles, that's probably better. Help better convey the foreign critique. Okay. Looking to have critiqued. All right. Determine right. Okay. And responses. Just gonna create a spreadsheet for that. Boom. All right. Okay. So that's good. Oh, preview. That would be good. This does not look like a good section header. Like, it's not apparent to me. Like, this is the part where we talk about, you know. Presentation. To submit another response. No. Your confirmation message. Thank you again for taking the time to fill out this survey. Woo! All right. Excuse me. Customize theme. Oh, you can have a header image. Yeah. I really don't care. Font style basic. Descriptions. Oh. Jeez. No. I think it was just layout questions. That looks way better. Jesus. Right? Okay, that feels a lot better. Okay, so let's preview this again. Oh, and it actually... Okay, and it actually splits it up into separate pages. That's okay. And let me see. There's a setting for progress bar. Yeah. Okay. All right, I think that's it. Okay. Oh, pardon me. And again, where was the... Oh, responses. And that feels... Yeah, that's the same, basically. So we've got a spreadsheet all set up for that. That's good. Yeah. Hey. So I think we're actually done here with the survey. Feels pretty good to get something checked off. Let's paint. Let me show you the quick doodle I had, or let me shittily recreate it here, I guess. So basically, it occurred to me to have this idea of like a wider canal, basically, and then like we were doing for the for at least one of those locks, we kind of have this half a hexagon, otherwise known as the trapezoid, kind of sticking out, and then we do that the same way over here, and then we have the lock that sort of serves as a bridge, or maybe not officially a bridge, but I think maybe if we have the player be able to like hop off that and basically mantle their way back up, that might feel a little more trespassy, you know. And then obviously, you know, you have the water here. That's my water. How do you like it? So yeah, and then basically for this, I also wanted to sort of have a building that kind of fits the contour of this space. Not just because it's interesting, you know, having some sort of like tavern here or an inn here or something, but also because that's my wood. That's my ability to draw wood. How do you? Not just for visibility blocking, but also, and it's interesting, but you know, I think it creates interesting gameplay, and then of course you have buildings sort of abutting this, with little alleys and back ways. So hopefully, I don't know. This feels like it's just going to be like a giant overhaul of the whole map. In fact, I might just like start over aside from, you know, the ship interior itself. Excuse me. But yeah. And, you know, same thing over here. So hopefully we can focus this down and narrow it down a little more. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So enough of that. No, I don't want to save that garbage. Let's let's actually play. I think the first mission is a new job. Okay, so let's try that. Let's actually play through and kind of critique it. Start.
I go by many names in this city. Outlaw, rogue, thief. The few people who know me call me Corbin. My job is to acquire valuable items for the rich. Sounds easy, but these items are usually owned by someone already, someone who doesn't want to part with them. Luckily, I'm quite good at what I do. Tonight I'm meeting someone who wants to hire me for a job. I don't know the details yet, but an associate of mine has vouched for him, and the message managed to pique my interest. I'm supposed to meet my contact in a courtyard south of Canterbury Tavern. Canterbury is popular with wealthy travelers, and it just so happens that a Lord Rothwick is staying there tonight. I'm told he has a purse full of very expensive rubies with him. I've decided to arrive in the area a little early and engage in a bit of burglary. A tavern won't have the same level of security as a private estate, and it shouldn't be too difficult to find what room Lord Rothwick is in. The guest names are in the registry. I can help myself to that purse and still meet my contact in the courtyard on time. Not bad for a night's work. I've booked a room near the tavern. The sun is down, my gear is ready, and the city awaits. It's time to begin.
Get inside, find 400 gold pieces of loot. As an option. Oh, this is it's still optional? Oh. Sure, let's do that. 60 gold. What do I have? I kind of chuckled because they explicitly say, like, his name is something other than Garrett. When I released my first map, I know I explicitly talked about, I mentioned the Hammers or something, which is a thing in Thief. And people in the forums were like, please do not call them that. We don't want to get sued. So I was like, okay. I'd like moss arrows. So let's get a couple of those. And a few water arrows. And a noisemaker arrow. Hell yeah. Love those. So I'm not sure I've ever played this one. I know there was another small map. I think was the Thieves' Den or something. No, that's not right. That's the mission from the Dark Project. What am I thinking? Yeah, there was just another smaller map that I actually couldn't figure out because where it wanted me to go was actually pretty obtuse. So, all right, let's go.
The back alleys of Bridgeport. You can get almost anywhere unseen, if you know your way through the maze.
All right. Actually, let me close my let me close my curtains, because that's, the best way to play Thief or the Dark One. Because very low and particular light levels are very important. Maybe that's part of why I'm having difficulty moving through my map. Just because, my ambient stuff is actually way brighter. Actually, let's let's turn the gamma up a little. Okay. Do I have a map? I don't think so. This looks like a pretty good light, actually. Okay. Oh. The audio got cut off there for a bit. So I guess what do we notice here? First off, for along the corners, lots of wooden beams. As well as if you say change textures, like from this stone texture to that one, there's sort of this little offset thing, I'm blanking on the term, but some sort of little lip, basically, to make it clear that this is like an intentional distinction between textures. I also noticed in the intro cinematic there, or animatic, I guess, there's a particular photo of the tavern that it actually had windows there, but the windows were sort of in these stone recessed alcoves, which is interesting because I think that highlights potential hiding spots, and those hiding spots are built into the exterior of the building. And so it already occurs to me, if we put several of those on the buildings that exist in my map, it'll already, that would improve the player being able to hide, See, gonna be a problem? Don't think so. Oh dear. The way that this light is set up, it's really cool because this guy is sort of half in shadow. But you can still clearly see him. Nice little step ladder here. And of course it illuminates the ladder, which I suck at climbing. Can't really tell what's going on up there, but I guess the ladder still indicates, hey, you can go up here. It's a clear enough pointing thing. Clear enough leading line, I should say. I think we can snuff that out, but I don't want to. Just not at the moment. Boom. These sort of wooden arches are very interesting architecturally. Also noticing a lot of like pallet stuff, like there's like wooden planks and stuff here. I don't think you can do that with like one solid brush, but like you have the crossbeam supporting it. But I mean, like the planks above that, you know. It actually looks like those are individual bits of geo, which is interesting. Can I actually open this? No. Okay.
I can probably get up on that pipe if I can find something to stack.
Heyo. It's interesting that they include that as a hint. Then again, this is a pretty... Like, they said that this was supposed to be, like, the first official... Oh, dear. Okay. This is supposed to be the first official map. I'm having a tough time seeing the top of that pipe, so I can judge the height. I mean, I think that's what that window is supposed to be for, as like a light source. It's just not really doing it for me, and especially with like all this stuff, I can't see what I'm supposed to stack things on top of. Is it this crate, maybe? Come on. Alright, let's go. Oh dear. Is there like a time limit for me holding things, or did I just go up too high, or... Yeah, so, see, this is more of a game-wide thing. This highlight shader, it's like you mouse over, and like that's a very good indication of like you have something now. Like it's within grabbable distance. But as soon as I hit the right mouse button, it doesn't like slightly change that more to indicate like yes, you have a hold of it now. And so I kind of noticed with that second crate I stacked on here, it's like if I let go now, there's no indication visually that I no longer have it. You know, it's a little confusing. Okay. And now where? I really cannot tell where I'm supposed to go. Is it here? Ah, up here. Okay. See, getting a stronger light source up here to indicate to the player this is a place where they can go would really help. Oh, nice.
The city watch makes the main streets a lot riskier. Even regular citizens might raise a hue and cry if they see someone dressed like me.
The old man said the builders are harassing the girls behind the inn. Says it's bad for business.
What does he want us to do about it? Builders don't carry those hammers for decoration, you know. They'll bash your skull in right quick. Who's going to stop them? You think a church court will hang one of their own? We ain't gonna rattle the knuckles. That's
Oh god, my apologies. I'm trying to, excuse me, check if there's a quick save. Yes. F4. Aw, man.
The city needs to put a stop to it.
Okay.
You let a dog roam free in the kitchen long enough, and soon he thinks he owns all the food.
No.
Boys,
This is also interesting because it feels like this area I'm in specifically is a little lighter than where I would normally get a fully dull light gem, like a 0% visibility here.
It seems clear now.
I think it's just an issue with me like tweaking certain
must have been nothing.
ambient light things. Yeah. Okay, see here, that's like a way better leading light. Is this a thing? No. Although this does break up the street quite a bit. I really like that. And of course, you know, the curbsides here. Electrification. No admittance. Oh dear. Where are they talking about, though? Because it ain't over here. I'll tell you that. Is that a guy over there? Shit. I fucked that up.
There's the tavern. That guard in front is a problem. I'll either need to distract him or find another way in.
Wasting my nights walking the streets for hours. Working with some fat noble now. Mansion.
Like the really subtle swinging there. That's really fun. I wonder how he does that. I also gotta say, just ambient, or not ambiently, but this, in terms of layout, I think is balancing the want of more open-ended layouts in Thief levels way more, with the likely linear restrictions that are required of a BSP-based engine, like you know, id Tech 4. And this honestly feels way more open, and this honestly feels like the most, in terms of dark mod maps, this feels like the most thiefy and the most successful to capture the feel of Thief so far. Tears of St. Lucia, which we may get to in a bit, is not bad either. It's actually pretty good, but the thing is that Heyo. But the thing is that there's a couple of pretty obnoxious choke points in St. Lucia. That like really work against it, and we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah.
Hey, did you see the Moorish gods they have protecting the Vizier?
Oh, jeez. That is also very true to Thief, you know. Ambient conversations that kind of start sounding like someone saw you, but it turns out it's just a conversation.
Better make sure the washer wench doesn't pick a fight with one on laundry day.
Just relax. Git.
Oh dear.
What do you think of the way things are going lately? Could be worse.
I don't know what's with these audio clips and audio pops. Oh, that was not a piece of loot. I really dig that.
He's been here as long as I have.
The giant supporting pillar casting a shadow.
No point in bringing it up. They never listen to me anyway.
And I think with the arbitrary light placement that is, you know, necessary for a dark mod map or a thief map, having an extinguished one of those things really helps. Let's look at my objectives again. Search Lord Rothwick's room for the rubies. I suppose meeting up with my contact is the ending objective. Anything in here? No. It's like a room, a wash basin, a chamber pot. No, this all looks really good. And of course you don't just have something like floor to ceiling as like one giant texture here. You kind of have this baseboard. Or not even baseboard. I don't know how to... Because the baseboard is more specifically the stuff down there, but this sort of, you know, thigh-high or waist-high trim. You know what I mean? Clearly I need to learn more architectural terms.
A one-eyed guard. This must be my lucky day.
Oh, that's interesting. So, are they gonna like cut down his FOV and then like fictionalize that? Uh-oh.
Alright, let's get this over with.
Ah, shit. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Where do I go? Ah.
I think I saw something strange out there.
Where do I run? Where do I run? Oh, Oh, fuck you.
The back alleys of Bridgeport. You can get almost anywhere unseen, if you know your way through the maze.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, if I... Yeah, reload my quick save.
The city needs to put a stop to it. You let a dog roam free in the kitchen long enough.
Oh, shit.
He owns all the food.
Placing, you know, random carts of stuff as hiding cover. It's pretty good.
Still never told me.
Okay, so for like these big awnings, like they have these support beams to like better
What I see there.
give a sense that this is actually like a structure that has weight supporting it, or it's supporting the weight. Clearly, that building A that I have in my map could benefit from this. Because I was kind of worried about it looking disproportionate in terms of how far it stuck out, but this looks perfectly fine. Clearly, it's just me needing to be more convincing. If you also pay attention to these details, they've got like the beams going vertically there, and they don't just have like one flat horizontal layer there of wood. It's like there's three alternating layers there, like a Jenga tower, you know, because they've got those cross beams poking out and then the supporting arches. That's really interesting. That tells me like a lot about fictionally how they build these buildings. There's also alternating stuff here, like there's like stone, thatch, brick. A lot of random pipes sticking out and stuff like that. Yeah, that might really help with the canal if I just have like a lot more pipes sticking out, not just to provide cover and visual interest, but also just to hopefully sell the idea of
There's the tavern. That garden front is a problem. I'll either need to distract him or find another way in.
or to sell the idea that, you know, there's like a bunch of like pumping machinery all sown throughout the district.
What's the point of making extra when if I never get to spend it?
I think he saw me there. Shit. Oh god. Phew. Okay. Also looking at those sort of bay windows over there and right there. Those look really nice. They add a little depth to the building facade.
Your dog meat.
Shit.
You think you're pretty smart.
Pretty smart, huh?
Hey, I got him cornered here. You think you can't escape all of us? Aha! Now I've got you. I see
Where
you
to
there.
find me? Here.
Alright, the bow made me slightly more visible.
Come on out.
Forgot about that.
after him! You think you're pretty smart, huh?
Where's
You know
my...
I'll find you sooner or later.
Alright.
I see you there.
Oh, fuck you. Go chase the thing.
You think you're pretty smart, huh?
Take him together. You won't be safe there for long.
Well, that was a waste.
You think you're pretty smart.
I can find you again.
Did I have a health potion?
You can't
Now
escape
I'll
all
get
of
you.
us.
You won't be safe there for long. Hey, where'd he go?
Oh, boy.
Like something. I suppose
You're going to the gallows, thief. We're going to find you, you know. You're going to the gallows, thief.
not.
This... Huh.
You can't escape all of us.
Maybe it's an issue with thermal throttling on my computer. Or like jump down to like 9, 10 frames a second. Yeah, like that.
Doesn't he could be anywhere.
Yeah, that's my computer. My apologies.
How did he get past me?
Okay, so yeah, where did all those guards come from? Because there were like 6 people. Can wait for him to go around the corner and... slide into here.
Nothing gets by me now.
Oh, yeah?
Someone horrid is hiding around here.
What?
Please don't investigate. Wait. Fuck. No. That was quick load, not quick save. An idiot.
You let a dog roam free in the kitchen long enough, soon he thinks he owns all the food.
Do I have like a slow fall potion or something? No. I don't really know. If I drop on those crates. Okay. Maybe those should be out a little farther to make it a little clearer that you know, there's something to catch the player.
Wasting lions walking the streets for hours. I could be working for some fat nobleman who wore a mansion and make twice as much.
Yep. Alright. Come on. Oh. Jeez. Again, gonna wait for him. else?
There's the tavern. That guard in front is a problem. I'll either need to distract him or find another way in.
So here's the problem. You look at the silhouette of the shadow and you think that you go in there, and let me quick save here. You go in here and it doesn't actually hide you. Something that some people in the Dark Mod forums talked about was there's a particular setting that you can put on lights to actually have them not affect player visibility. And the thing is that I really don't like that because it confuses the communication of being hidden in shadow. And I think we basically here we have the opposite case where it looks like you should be safe here, but you're not. I think that has to do with these being models rather than world spawn, like this pillar is. So that's a good thing to keep in mind.
I'll teach you to mess with me.
Drop that weapon.
Hey, I
Don't
got him
move.
cornered here.
Hey, I got him cornered here.
That's a good trick. Where did he go?
The guard out front just not reacting. That's interesting.
Just make one little sound.
Help's on the way. We're going to find you, you know.
Also, I like with this architecture,
Just make
these two
one little noise.
buildings are
You're
kind
going
of
to the
conjoined.
gallows, thief.
Oh, shut up. These two buildings are kind of conjoined, and then there's sort of the archway entry below there. The actual physical space within the building that's on top of that is actually like 2 stories high.
Little sound.
So it makes it feel like way more beefy and less flimsy, you know?
You're going to the gallows, thief.
Noisemaker. I'm surprised I got the hotkey.
Swords out, man.
No.
You think you're pretty smart, huh?
Fuck you. Jesus. I'm getting impatient here. Alright,
Where did he go?
I quick saved behind that pillar. Sorry, I just want to get back to the...
I'll teach you to mess with me.
Oh, come on.
There's an intruder. Is that all you've got?
Alright, what do we got over here? That's a dead end.
Told you it would end this way.
Mm-hmm. You were facing the other way. Oh my god.
Well, whatever it was, I can't see anything now. Oh, that's what I'm trying to remember.
This is the guy on the far... No. This is also interesting because you need a certain amount of light to more clearly signal to the player that there are guards off in the distance. So that's another function of the lighting. Okay. Note to self, do not knock over those planks. guy's just standing there. Jesus. Okay, so yeah, that's an interesting consideration. You need enemies to either be in front of lit areas. Oh, fuck off. Or you need them to stand in a light source in order to clearly signal to the player, like, hey, they're patrolling through here at this moment. Maybe if I go now. Yes! Okay. Always work with it. And F4 to save, not load, for the love of God.
Hey, did you see the Moorish guards they have protecting the Vizier? I wonder what those curved swords would be like in a fight.
I heard those swords are just for show. They say the Moors can use magic to summon genies and wind and stuff.
They fight by summoning genies? What do they do, huh? Rub a lamp?
And winds. They can summon really strong winds.
Oh, sure. Better make sure the washer wench doesn't pick a fight with one on laundry day, then.
Cheeky git. Been a long day.
Okay, so she patrols there. I want to see if I can get into that back room.
Could be worse.
Shit.
If I light it, it'll just keep going out.
That is supposed to be lit.
I don't know where she comes in here, so I just want to go down and explore. Oh wow, I really like that. It's a nice detail. The spinning gears, I mean. How do I sheathe? There we go. And not much of anything here, really. I feel like this is just a hiding place for the player. Yeah. Oh. No. Jeez. Unless there's something under here. I don't think so. Okay, good thing I moved. Oy.
The fish went bad again. Going to need a good dose of salt.
Oh dear. I don't want to eat rotten fish.
Ah, I can't be bothered to light it right now. That went out quickly.
You gotta...
My.
You gonna do something? You gonna go? Is she like stuck in a loop? This is not great. No? Okay. Kind of goes back and forth a few times. You just kind of go back and forth a few times. You know what I'm saying?
Do the game last night.
Cuckoo words.
Over here was okay.
How long have they been soaking now? Oh, I mustn't forget them.
Alright.
We're going to be short-handed again if we can't find some new recruits by Monday.
No, there's nothing in there.
A one-eyed guard. This must be my lucky day.
This has a candle on top of it, though. This is gonna be awkward, isn't it? Okay. It's bizarre. Just have the candle like parented to the lid. Okay. Ooh. Under quarantine, I know that life. Ugh. The source of which appears to be the unfortunate vessel Fair Maiden, which still lies at anchor in the docks. Oh my god. This is exactly like what happened a couple months ago. So like there's like the US warship, and then there was a cruise ship off of like Cuba, I think. Mm-hmm. All right, pal. That looks smoky. Oh, is that supposed to be like incense? That's nice. Ooh, this is Rothwick. good, good. They're jewels, Betty. Okay. No. Enter? Okay. Not only do thieves hide in the dark alleys, but they come out of the very sky. What a damn magpie. Oh, I see. Two more on the street outside. Oh dear. The innkeeper has put my jewels in an iron safe in his room. Wouldn't tell me the combo when I asked what happened. When I was like, I forgot what it was. He just laughed and said when that happens, he goes and gets drunk at his workbench. What an odd fellow. If it weren't for the trade fair of the Avengers Guild, I would leave Braden. So, get the rubies from the innkeeper's safe. He said it was in his room. Is that the one downstairs? I would think so. Ooh. Ooh, hoo, hoo. We get to pick locks. Oh. Oh, there we go. Weird, but okay. First off, oh, you can move it around, but you can't. Shit.
Gods, protect me at once!
God. I don't think the guard actually heard that. Oh God. So nervous. Oh, he's got a key. That probably went to that chest. Says you can press the use key to shoulder her body, but I can't lift him high enough to put him back on the bed. Oh well. Oh, that is weird. Yeah, see? Oh, okay. No, it affects player's visibility a little. Yeah, this is an inn room with no window. That's a very small critique. And I think next is going to come over here. No? Didn't know that there was a room over here too. Looks pretty big. Oh, it's kind of like 2 rooms. Alright. I think it occurs to me I should probably be thinking, when it comes to AI, more in terms of an encounter designer, you know? Oh, did he find the body? Shit. Yeah, he found the body. Yeah, because, you know, this idea of, you know, a narrow hallway with a bunch of rooms acting as spokes. And then this guard, like, moving up and down the hallway, and you have to move around him. Like, that's a more, like, concrete idea for a very specific area. And, you know, I just kind of put guards on, like, loops throughout my map, which is not great.
Statue, weeping blood.
Yeah, my uncle went and saw it. Said it cured his gout.
I wonder if it will put that hospital out of business.
You mean Belhaven? He'd be out of business already if Belhaven wasn't paying for the whole thing himself.
I think that's a very telegraphed thing to be like, use it on this guy. I don't know if stepping on wood at this distance will alert him. Okay. Maybe I should use a moss arrow anyways. Yeah, buddy. That's pretty wide, actually.
Well, it's not going to end well. He can never resist a new pretty face. I warned them both.
I can just knock this guy out. Yeah. Alright. Cash box key. Oh, is that like the cash box and the bar maybe? might be a good time to quick save, anyways.
What's the food like in the kitchen tonight?
There's room for improvement.
Doesn't seem to be a note of any kind, because I need that combo. Oh right, it said something about he would go into his workshop and get drunk, and that was the, I assume, the place down the elevator. So I am praying that she does not come out. She's right there. Okay.
This is terrible.
Okay. That's good.
I should be somewhere.
Uh, 162, is that it? Oh, whoops. That is... Oh, that is so cool. Making a texture for like a vintage, a particular year of a wine, and then hiding a combo lock that way. That is so cool. I love that. Oh, that's brilliant. That's so good. Okay.
So, how's your shift?
Doesn't get much worse.
This is horrid. What if he's still nearby?
Oh dear. Come on. Move. How many water arrows? I only have one left. Oh my god.
How'd you do at the game last night?
Fine.
Huh? So hungry.
Do I have to knock her out? I'd rather not, but you know.
No. Oh.
You know you're not supposed to be here. Come on out. Hey, you okay?
Someone's down over here.
Can't escape, you know.
Alright. So yeah, this space is a lot smaller in terms of what you would typically find. I think in terms of missions from the Thief games, this kind of reminds me most of the one where you go into the police station, because it's basically like trying to do a bunch of like sub tasks within the same building, and then you kind of have a bit of the approach towards the area. This is clearly way smaller than that. I think I already mentioned, but yeah, I don't know, I really like that structure. Oh, I thought that was a highlight or something. Something I could frob. There's stuff over here. All right.
What was that?
They didn't revive her.
Nothing moving now.
Or, you know, resuscitate, what have you.
What kind of fool breaks in here anyway?
This also feels really good because they have what looks like different configurations of enemies depending on what happens. Like these guys were just kind of sitting there and they were kind of pressuring the player away from certain areas, but now it seems like they have like new dynamic set patrol paths, you know.
Did something? Huh.
So that basically, like, there's like this one configuration in this one state where you have the barmaid walking behind there and into the back room, and then now that she's out of the picture, these two other guys start moving around.
I imagined it. Maybe it was a draft that put it out. Well, I don't see anything now.
And the fact that like that's like two basically enemy configurations that happen in the same space, I think is very interesting. It's very cool.
Did I see?
No, you didn't. It was 162, right? No, come on.
Hey, are you okay? He's hurt.
Oh shit. I left the door open. I'm an idiot.
You can't escape, you know.
Show yourself,
No one shoots
coward.
someone, so...
Hiding isn't going to solve anything. Come out into the open, you villain.
I know I saw someone.
Soon this place is going to be swarming with guards. Let's settle this just between us.
Okay.
You know I'll eventually find you sooner or later.
Do I? Alright, now that that's done.
I bet you are right over there in those shadows.
You know I'll find you sooner or later.
Okay. Also, if you're watching, and you happen to be a fan of
Somewhere.
Matt Lucas, he's premiering a new video pretty shortly about Bon Appetit, and I want to actually wrap this up so I can
I
attend
bet you are right over there in those shadows.
attend the premiere. Also, a small thing I really like is that these
What's that over there?
shit. Okay, God. Is that the moonbeams that are coming through the windows are all consistently from one particular
See anything
angle?
now?
Adds consistency. Kind of feels like they have a different configuration as well now. Now that they've discovered the innkeep. Come on.
Let's keep a sharp eye out tonight.
Still have the noisemaker. I do. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that's not smart with these guys in the inn.
Greetings. Right.
And okay. Phew. All right. Okay. So now, Royston Court. I don't know if that's this. It's the southeast corner, right? So, this is north. So, must be over there. Boy. Oh my god, there was a door out here the whole time. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna move over here. Is there anybody here? Ah, here's my guy.
Corbin? Is that you?
What?
If you'll follow me, we can talk about the details.
Awesome. All right. Let's look at statistics. Why not? 50 minutes. Was a pretty good chunk of time. KO by the player. 15 suspicious, 3 searches, 1 sighting. Yeah. Okay. I know because I haven't streamed any other maps on here for Dark Mod. This statement won't have a lot of contrast, but this is honestly like the best Dark Mod map I've played so far. It's just really great. I don't know. Maybe dealing with something at that scale would have been a lot better. Yeah, I don't know. I'm also reminded, especially with that opening of the door to the basement at the end of Lord Bafford, because that's sort of the way it was put to me back at Other Side, was that they were talking about Lord Bafford's manor, and they were talking about, oh, this is kind of an onion shell thing. And so it felt to me like they kind of started with the tavern itself, and then they started like building the spaces out from there. So yeah, I don't know. I just have to say it's really well done, and I think it communicates more to me that, you know, again, having concrete ideas for individual like encounters in a room or a set of rooms in regards to the way a guard moves around the space. Excuse me. That seems to be way more of the way to approach making these maps, because I guess I was sort of like thinking in terms of like not trying to be too dictatorial in terms of how a particular area should play out, because I'm like, well, it's, you know, systems driven, you know, so anything could happen, so, you know, don't really try to forecast the player outcome too much. But I don't know, the encounters that I have in my current map feel kind of nothingy right now. And I think that's a big part of why it just doesn't feel great. So yeah, I will definitely have to look at the level through that lens, and do some really hard self-crit. So yeah, Again, nobody is showing up on the concurrent viewers, but I know at least a couple of people are watching. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully I will have the maps up on Last Life and the Dark Mod forums tonight or tomorrow, or just within the next few days. And yeah, and then I think next week we're going to play a little more, or a few more of the missions that are here. And then, yeah, and critique a little more. And I think it'll actually be good to open these up in Dark Radiant and actually poke around in other people's maps to see how they accomplish things. Like, the way the AI is balanced in this, in terms of difficulty, feels pretty good. And I'm kind of wondering how they achieve that. So yeah, let's finish this up. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye.